all these things coming together, and when any subsystem is affected by a shock, the whole food system is affected, right? That we have seen that in terms of cyclones, in terms of natural disasters and so on. But how do we build the resilience of this food system, bringing it all together, right? And that requires market mechanisms, collective action, and public provision of infrastructure, including the early warning systems to prevent disasters, right? And build after the disasters quickly. And we have learned a lot. Bangladesh is a classic example how people have been able to build the resilience of the food system as a whole. And finally, climate resilient development pathways. How do we integrate various policies that affect climate change in terms of adaptation, mitigation, and then resilience building, not only at the national level, but also at the local level, but also connecting it to the global level. So these are the 5 action tracks that are being proposed that the countries should take up and implement. Of course, the organizers and the speakers of the UN Food System Summit, if you followed, all recognized we can talk at the global level and go home, but nothing happens unless the national level policies are made into food system approach, right? That's where the action at the national level, and then translating that national level into the local level implementation, local level investments, local level capacity, and building the national institutions like the think tanks that we are working with, ministries that we are working with, right, to develop their own strategies to take the approach to food system transformation from their own perspective, but work in a multi-sectoral way. And that's a challenge. So with that, let me leave this as a broad introduction to the topic of food system transformation, food system sustainability, for us to build on in the next few presentations. Thank you very much. Turning it back to the organizers.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suresh Babu sir, for his nice and very important presentation in post-United Nations Food System Summit. Actually, this program is jointly organized by the commercial newspaper of Bangladesh, the Daily Bonik Batra, and the prestigious newspaper, English newspaper, the Financial Express of Bangladesh. And this program is broadcasting in Bonik Batra and Economic Development Research Organization Facebook page. Now, I would like to invite Honorable another panelist, Dr. Akhtar Ahmed, Senior Research Fellow and Country Program Director of IFPRI, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Dr. Akhtar Ahmed, sir. Hello. Can you listen to me, sir? Hello.
Yes, thank you. I was muted.
Okay, thank you.
Honorable State Minister of Planning, Dr. Shamsul Alam, also Boro Bhai, Mohan Bhai, আমরা একই ইউনিভার্সিটি, একই ডিপার্টমেন্টের, একই ফ্যাকাল্টির। And ladies and gentlemen, the organizers, I particularly thank the organizers for inviting me to this webinar. So I will present my presentation, please. Hello, can you please show my presentation?
No, sir. Actually, your presentation is.
I am sharing. Okay. Okay, is it okay, sir?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So the title of my presentation today is Transforming Food System in Bangladesh, Evidence-Based Policy Formulation. And I am a country representative of the International Food Policy Research Institute. So what I'll do today is, draw particularly from IFPRI's policy research in Bangladesh. Next slide, please. So here are some select research that we have done in this area, which relates to this food system. We have seen that increased agricultural diversity improves household dietary diversity. We have also seen that adding nutrition behavior change communication to safety nets, increasing children's diet diversity and reduce stunting. Agriculture, nutrition, and gender linkage interventions improve crop diversity, farmers' income, nutrition knowledge, diet quality, and empower women. Increased women's empowerment in agriculture improves household, child, and maternal dietary diversity, as well as increasing agricultural diversity. And finally, despite an alarming rise in food insecurity in the immediate months of COVID-19 pandemic, IFPRI research shows that encouraging signs of recovery in food security almost after a year. Next, please. So here in this diagram, what I'm showing is this overwhelming dominance of rice in our diet. And this is from IFPRI's Nationally Representative Rural Survey in 2018-19. So what we found that 64% of calorie comes from rice alone. And not only that, 51% of protein intake also comes from rice because we eat so much rice, but rice is not really a good source of high quality protein. And then 32% of iron and 56% of zinc also comes from rice. Next, please. So that is also reflected in the production side. About 54% of the farmers, they grow only one crop, which is rice. And again, just about 59% grow one crop, and then 21% grow two crops. So this shows that our agriculture diversification is not really very good. We need to diversify more. We need to diversify our diet, from my first slide, but we need to also diversify agricultural production. Next, please. Now we have seen this. This is based on food consumption score of WFP, and we analyzed that, and we found that this diet quality in terms of micro and macronutrient intakes is extremely low for the poor. So here we are showing by income quintile or expenditure quintile, this poorest 20% of the poor, you see their dietary quality is really very low, but it improves as income improves. Okay. Okay, next please. So here is one example from our research. This is a randomized controlled trial experiment that we did. It's called Transfer Modality Research Initiative. It is a safety net program combined with nutrition knowledge, behavior change communication. So we looked at cash transfer, food transfer, and cash and food transfer combined with nutrition knowledge. And we found that when we added nutrition knowledge to safety net transfers, then stunting reduced by 7.3 percentage points, which is about 3 times the national average trend decline. But other modalities like only food or only cash did not have impacts on child nutrition, but also they had impact on household food security. Next, please. So this is from this, what I said, the Angel study, Agriculture, Nutrition, and Gender Linkages study. So this study was conducted by IFPRI together with the Ministry of Agriculture. Ministry of Agriculture actually implemented this study in 18 districts. So from this study, we have seen that household diet quality improved for those participants who attended this angel interventions. Okay, so there are several interventions, but we found statistically significant increase in diet quality for the group who got nutrition training, and then more for those when you combine nutrition with agriculture training, and then finally nutrition, agriculture, and gender sensitization. That has the highest impact on diet quality. Next, please. Okay, so this slide shows that COVID-19 induced food insecurity is declining over time. So this is also from our survey. We conducted 3 rounds of survey in 2019, that is pre-COVID situation. That was a recall actually. And then in June 2020, we conducted a survey, 2021, and then lastly in September 2021, last month. So here you see that food insecurity, which is measured by FAO's Food Insecurity Experience Scale, so that declined in gradually, insecurity declined gradually, and particularly what we see that the severity and of this severe or moderate food insecurity, that really declined. You see, in June 2020, we saw a huge rise in that, but then it's quite encouraging that it has declined in gradually from in January and also finally in September. So this shows probably the of course government interventions mattered, safety net transfers in both urban and rural areas happened, but also people are probably becoming more and more resilient. The first time when there was lockout, so people were not that resilient, so they suffered much more, but gradually they became more resilient. So that's this slide. Now, some conclusions. Next, please. So there are some policy considerations. That is, agricultural diversity has to increase. So for this, we have seen from our research that high value and high nutritive value production, the production of those crops and also livestock and fisheries, those are quite risky, mainly market-induced risks like price risk. So compared to rice production is not that risky, price risk in terms of price risks. Okay, so but crops like vegetables, you grow 1 year, a big amount, and then the next year price falls. Okay, so farmers then don't want to produce that. So although those products are higher value than rice, we have seen that most of the non-rice crops are more profitable than rice, but still farmers stick to rice production because of this market-induced risk particularly. So here, I think contract farming is a good option that these value chain actors, particularly these food processing industries and supermarkets, they can do this contract farming, and also agriculture finance, agriculture credit matters. So also important is to create an enabling policy environment from the private sector for agricultural value chain development. And value chain here, it covers from production to consumption in the market channel. Every step, it adds value, right? Packaging, storaging, transportation. So that value chain, is mainly led by private sector. So there should be a policy environment for them to enable this development. Invest in research on productivity of rice and non-rice crops, including livestock and fisheries. There are several areas here. For rice, short duration varieties of rice, if that develop, there are some short duration varieties of rice, but if you have more short duration variety of rice, then another crop like pulses or oilseeds or some vegetables can be integrated in the cropping pattern. And also for non-rice crop, the productivity needs to be increased through research. Okay, research in Bangladesh is mostly focused on rice production, not much on oilseeds, pulses, vegetables, and so that area investment in research in those non-rice rice crops and livestock and fisheries also needs to be more investment needs to be made there. Promote rice intensification. So intensify production so that it releases land for other crops to grow. And also for that, we need a strong agriculture extension system. Next, please. Next slide, please. Next. So you can just use the arrow. Yes, thank you. Improve diet quality, develop value chains for nutrient-dense food. So this is important because we, some of my slides showed that how rice-centric is our diet. We have very little diversity in diet. We have very little diversity in production also. So this value chain, particularly for nutrient-dense food, like fruits, vegetables, and fish, egg, milk, those things is very important. But there is also market-related risk, for particularly the perishable items. So we need to think about that, like storage, processing, packaging, and those aspects. Promote nutrition knowledge among both consumers and also farmers and women and men. Now, this point, support women's empowerment. This came very strongly from IFPRI research that women's empowerment in agriculture improves dietary diversity, increases agricultural diversity, and also helps household move out of poverty. So the promoting women's empowerment remains really a paramount matter for complementary development goals. Next, please. Then enhance nutrition sensitive agriculture. And I showed this example of Angel, which is a nutrition sensitive agriculture. That program generated definitive evidence, definitive because this is a randomized control trial experiment that showed that several it increases the farmer's income, dietary diversity, and those things. So that is very encouraging that the Ministry of Agriculture approved Angel for national implementation, and also Ministry of Finance is now soliciting funding from the development partners for this national scale up. But I think the government also should invest in this national scale up of Angel program. So this is an example of what research-based policy, what means by research-based policy transformation. The second, strengthen nutrition-sensitive social protection or safety nets. So the Bangladesh government makes substantial investment in social safety net, but also our research shows that it has food security, household food security impact, but very little impact on nutrition. So our research, the Transfer Modality Research Initiative, shows that adding nutrition-intensive behavior change communication to safety nets can increase food security and also child nutrition. And then target social safety net to key populations, that is particularly poor, pregnant and lactating women from very poor household. That is very important in the life cycle, and also adolescent girls. And particularly here, adolescent girls, if they marry early, then they give birth early also, and then their babies are born undernourished, and that is a major reason for stunting, child stunting. So social campaign needs to be promoted to prevent adolescent girls marriage and to improve nutrition, and also during pregnancy nutrition is very important. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yes, thank you. Now, finally, this policy considerations for COVID-19 research that is shown that our June okay. So during early period of lockdown, we have seen rising unemployment, income losses, and food insecurity. But subsequent surveys in January and September show encouraging signs of recovery from this food insecurity. So if research found that also that urban poor are disproportionately affected more by COVID-19. So that calls for revamping the existing social protection or social safety net system to reach the urban poor. So
our time is short, so I would like to request you to shorten the presentation, sir.
Yes, this is my last. I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, sir. So thank you very much, Dr. Akhtar Ahmed, sir. He is presenting in this webinar from United States of America. We are really grateful to him for his presentation. Actually, our chief guest is our Honorable State Minister, Dr. Shamsul Alam, sir. You know, Dr. Shamsul Alam, sir, joined Bangladesh Agriculture University as a university teacher in 1974. He obtained his master's degree in Thailand and PhD from the United Kingdom. We are really glad that our university teacher has made the State Minister of Bangladesh. We are really proud for his ownership as a minister. I would like to request Dr. Jahangir Alam, sir, to present his presentation. Sir, your time is just 7 minutes because our minister, sir, will go from this webinar at 11 a.m. So I request you to end within 7 minutes. Sir, Dr. Jahangir Alam, sir.
Thank you, Tanjil. So, do you listen to me?
Yeah, I can listen, sir. Carry on, sir.
Okay. So I'm not taking, in fact, even 7 minutes. So what I told that, in fact, the admission test of Dhaka University is going to happen in less than 30 minutes time. So I'll have to leave for that. So I inform you. Okay, thank you so much, Andrew, for inviting me to speak with the very high level panelist and also State Minister. So thanks moderator as well, and then Honorable Chairman, you, Tanjil Hussain, and chairing the today's webinar titled Mobilizing Action for Food System Transformation in Bangladesh. I'm sorry that I'm not doing my video on is because like the bandwidth, there are many people in the campus around, so there is huge pressure on the network. I'm sorry for that. So Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Shamsul Alam, sir, my supervisor mentor, State Minister for Planning, Minister of Planning, keynote speaker, Dr. Suresh Babu, my research collaborator, distinguished panel speaker, Dr. Akhtari Hummad, and then the others will speak, Nasser Farid, and then other colleagues, electronic and print media, dear audience, and very good morning. So I will talk on evaluation of food and agriculture market in Bangladesh, implication for food system. I'm not using any PowerPoint. In fact, just I'll be talking about that one. So when we say that evaluation of food and agricultural market in last couple of decades, and the implications of those of that evolution of food and agriculture markets for food systems. So just quickly seeing that when we say the food system, so what does food system actually mean? So it's include all people and the entire range of actors. So that's starting from the input supplier to the ultimate consumer or the end users. So there are kind of like interconnected activities that actually involved in enabling people to access the food. They need and ensure decent livelihood for those who produce the food and all who are engaged with the food system. So it means that the people, those who are supplying input, those people who are producing food, and the people, those who are making interconnectedness with different actors within the systems, and finally to the end users or consumers. So again, it includes different activities in the system. So what Dr. Suresh presented, so I'm not going to repeat, but just quickly go through that, the 5 different tracks of UN Food Summit that held in 23rd September of 2021. And then if we just skim very quickly of those 4 tracks, I would say that there are at least 4 tracks that directly related to the whether the food and agriculture markets work or not, or work efficiently or not, work effectively or not. So the ensuring safe and nutritious food for all, shifting to sustainable consumption pattern, advancing equitable livelihoods of people involved in food system, and building resilience to vulnerability, shocks, and stress. So we can see that the markets, food and agriculture markets, directly related to this at least 4 of 5 core tracks of the UN food system. And then if we want to see that actually the sustainable development goals, so food and agriculture actually delivering or will be contributing to deliver the sustainable development goals in many ways. For example, the number 1, we know that the no poverty, for example, and then zero hunger, good health and well-being. So there are so many sustainable development goals that actually will be achieved when the food and agriculture markets, it's not only the production but also markets that will actually work. So coming to the evaluation, if we just see that the food gain, and if we see that the fruits and vegetables and animal source food, that's what we say the nutrition dense food. So in all the cases, we know that we are saying, and then there are so many policies in the country actually working to make our agriculture more commercialized, more modern. So we see that if we just want to talk about the evaluation, then we see that our agriculture is actually just in the path that actually transforming from the subsistence to commercial agriculture in many of the subsectors, particularly aquaculture and then livestock. I would say that it's almost commercialized. So we say that there are many entrepreneurs, many producers, they actually came, they invested money, they are producing poultry meat, they are producing eggs, and then for the aquaculture, particularly aquaculture, I would say that they are producing for the market. So it's already transformed almost to the commercialized, but in the crop sector, not at all. But for some cases like the fruits and vegetables cases, we say that the subsistence to commercial agriculture is still far behind. And then if we look at the private sector, for example, even like in the processed food items, so it's not only just from processed food from the crop sector, but also aquaculture and then the livestock. We say that there are so many supermarkets actually came into the markets and they are working. So it's private sector is there. So a little bit on the historical perspective. So if we look back like in the last couple of decades, we say in the food grain markets, And as it was required that the policy was really focused a lot on the food grain, and then actually we see that the market is there. Sorry. But if we look at the nutrient dense foods, for example, fruits and vegetables, and then animal source food, for example, like livestock and aquaculture in Bangladesh. So the consumption level of these foods actually very low in the country. So what can be done in this situation? As I said that our policy making in terms of food consumption has for long been occupied with food grain. And that is understandably so, given the historical urgency of the fight against hunger and food security, and that's been achieved actually in the country. And that's why you said that the achievements on that front are tremendous. So in making the transition from fighting hunger to a broader focus on food nutrition and health in the population, you know that the fruits and vegetables and animal source food need to become a more important consideration in our food policy or food system portfolio. And hence, market actually can play a huge role in that case. So what I meant that it's supporting markets to deliver, produce an affordable way for all of these nutrient dense food, fruits and vegetables and animal source food. So why market are crucial in delivering this nutrient dense food? So it's like look beyond farmer nutrition to nutrition of entire population. So that's the food system. Again, it's not the producers, but also the entire chain in the food system. But there are some problems in the market, particularly for fruits and vegetables and then animal source food. For example, we know that for these foods, they are perishable and it requires long chain from producer to reach to the consumers. And there is huge concern on the food safety. And then, of course, just the underdeveloped infrastructure. So recently, just we completed one project that I'm referring to, that the market intervention for nutrition, market improvement for nutrition intervention. So in that project, actually, we have seen that the policy or like some intervention that actually focused to aggregate fruits and vegetables that benefited.
Sir, would you mind completing your speech? That time is going to be off, you know. Sorry, sir.
Okay. So I'm saying that it's not focusing only the farmers, but also the entire chain in the food system. It's, for example, like the vulnerable group of consumers as well. So in that case, the important point is strengthening market connectivity to get more produce to the market. And as we know that horticulture, livestock and aquaculture production is a risky business due to many regions. And that is why that needs to be intervened, keeping in mind that it's not the producers only, but also the poor consumers that will actually be benefited. So that's the fruits and vegetables. So if we look at the dairy and also sort of beef, just I'm making it very short now. So if we see that in the traditional channel, we know that it's only the modern channel is only 15% of total produce is being marketed through modern channel. The remaining 75 still is going through the traditional channel, and then the 10% actually import channel. So in that case, I would say that market is there, but market needs to be more upgraded. Market needs to be more effective or efficient. If we just see the beef value chain, for example, I give some numbers, like nearly 93% of beef supply in Bangladesh is being actually marketed through traditional channel. Remaining 7% is only through modern channel. So a little bit quick conclusions that what we know that there are 5 different directives of our Honorable Prime Minister, where her excellency actually emphasized a lot on the nutritional resilience and inclusive food system. And for achieving those inclusive food systems, market is a must. Efficient and effective market working is must. So that's from my side all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind presentation. As you know, the print and electronic media are participating with our webinar. I would like to thank ETV, representative of Ekattor TV, representative of Samoy TV, and Prothom Alo. And I would like to request Professor Dr. Shahadat Hossain Siddiqui sir to deliver his speech. The time is short, so I would like to give you 6 minutes, sir. Can you listen to me, sir?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for the floor, and sorry for taking the floor ahead of others as panelists, because I also have to attend the exam today. You know that Dhaka University D unit exam is going to be held at 11 a.m. sharply. Thank you thank you, organizer, for inviting me. And I am very happy and feel proud to be part with our honorable chief guest, Professor Dr. Shamsul Alam sir, because I had a few opportunities to be worked there as a discussant in the planning commissions, as well as in the economics departments, organized many seminars. So thank you. It's my pleasure and honor to you. Thank you, sir. First of all, I should not take enough time, and thank you, panelists. And first of all, appreciation should go to the Suresh Babu, who presented very nice and concrete evidence of what to do next for the time being. For being economist, and I will try to focus on some key issues that where we should work in terms of the effects of the things that Akhtar bin Ahmed mentioned, and also Suresh Babu mentioned in his paper. So first of all, we know that the paper actually highlighted to how we can improve the food security and reduce rural poverty by making agriculture sector. That means rural, emphasizing on the rural, as rural is more dependent on the agriculture, right? So in that sector, and how we can make it sustainable, and also highlighted the issue of the term resilience, right? Because it is not, it is linked with COVID shocks, just like the pandemic the author has mentioned. So yeah, I will just highlight the issue that we know that 50% of the employment is still in agriculture, and 70% of our land is allocated to the growth of crops, and we know about the major crops. But what about the productivity? If we have a look at the different types, almond, ours, boro, what we found? We found there, yes, crop yield, that means the productivity. There are deviations, right? So what to do and how we can make it, so make it more productive with the for the given resources. So there are also separate plans could be made. For example, we cannot cultivate one land, but it could be cultivable if we take some measures. There are different issues linked in the agricultural sectors, and linked with the, even we know that despite rapid urbanizations in Bangladesh, if we look at the statistics of Bangladesh, just from the beginning, if we start with the 71, 72, we had gross area of land hectare, it was 99 lakh hectare, right? But it stood at, in 2014, I'm telling about the BBS statistics, 2014 and 15, it stood at 114.5. That means what is happening? Despite urbanizations grabbing the agricultural land, however, the cultivable land is increasing. That means there are still scope to scale up for the agricultural land and to increase the productions. Now, I will try to focus on the productivity, what is happening, productivity over the 50 years. I will tell about 45 years as the statistics ends up in 2014 and 15. So if we look at the average yield productivity, it started with 1.00. Now it stood at 3.04. So actually 3 times higher. because of some innovations, because of the mechanizations, because of some innovative measures, because of crop diversifications, intensity of crops. So actually, how is it possible? Because the government took different measures and policies, and that could help the farmers to diversify and encourages even some pro-training activities, agricultural extension, some type of activities, because I'm not an agricultural economist. That's why I am not telling about too much that, but I know the terms. Yes, they are helping the farmers, and that's why even for the mechanizations, the government distributed some tractors for cutting the crops for the whole areas. So different initiatives actually government took. So over the course of time, productivity increases. But is it the end of the story? I would say no, because we could make actually I told about the stories of different crops produced. So what are the lands? How among the land transformations, that means crop intensity we can raise, even we can transfer house to amon to guru. There are different mechanisms we could implement for raising the productivity. And as you know that Bangladesh has raised, yes, Bangladesh achieved food security, but in terms of what type of food is food security? Actually, when we measure আমরা 3 বেলা খেতে পারছি কিনা, 2 বেলা খেতে পারছি কিনা, such kind of questions. But if we go inner depth of the definitions of the Food and Agriculture Organization, food security definition is different. We have to measure different indicators, combining 14, 15 indicators. Then actually, yes, this means food secure. So malnutrition, micronutrient deficiencies, so such kind of things, stunting, wasting, these are the serious issues and concerns. This should be the concerns of the government. But being the economist, we should say where we should do in terms of poverty, where we should focus more on increasing the productivity in terms of linkaging with the market, so that they could make them they are linked with the market easily. So in that case, I would just if we have a look at the divide, just from the recent work with the Sir Osmani sir, actually I highlighted some key concepts. For example, the East-West divide in Bangladesh, the East-West divide, then we find the severe actually from agricultural perspective. If we say share of households in agriculture, then we find in 2016 statistics in East 23%, and it is about 42% in the West. So West depends on more agriculture, share of households depends on more agriculture than the East. So if the government should take some measures in terms of poverty, in terms of enhancing the productivity of agriculture to reduce the poverty, then actually where it should work, government should work in the West relatively more compared to the East. Even if we have a look at the employment, in terms of employment, we know that yes, agriculture is contributing, but if we have a look at the productivity and real wage in the agricultural sector, it is frustrating in a sense, because it is also mentioned by the author that despite having the productivity more in production more over the time period, but if we have a look at the real wage, since 1985, real wage, in terms of real wage, it was 1.26, but it's now it is 0.03. So no change actually happening. So what should government should do for them? That means to reduce the poverty, that means fair value, that for providing the fair value, that means what government can do. For example, marketing. Here it's from the definitions, actually we know that food systems include the production, transportation, processing, storage, and marketing. So these things, so all the topics has an economics, because if we increase the production, that would help to reduce the production. That means what are the techniques to be employed for increasing the production? What are the incentives to be made for the farmers? That means who are the disadvantaged, who are the marginalized, who don't have the access? That means they are deprived. So what should be the distributions of land? Government has recently taken some policies for example, for security perspective, a homestead for those who are homeless. So in that case, actually landlessness for the landlessness, similar kind of activities and laws actually passed there for each person. This amount land should not be more than this amount. So such kind of activities has been taken by the transportation and infrastructure is a serious issue, because all agriculture farmers living in the disadvantaged area, so they are not taking the advantages of the fair price from the market. So government has a visions. Our honorable minister has initiated the 8th 5-year planning, pioneer of the 8th 5-year planning. So it has also mentioned about the my village, my town. So from that perspective, actually, valleys should be transformed just like the towns in terms of the facilities, in terms of the access. So that would help to contribute in this sense. Even e-logistics, so actually agriculture should also adopt some kind of that would help to connect with the Akhtaruddin Ahmed. Yes, he also mentioned about the contract farming. So contract farming requires some kind of knowledge, even smart knowledge. So smart knowledge is then need to be linked with the So I would be brief. I think I have passed a few times. I should tell few more
Sir,
things.
time is up, sir. I would like to request, sir.
Okay, so just I will comes to a conclusions that that means what we should do in terms of reducing poverty. Actually, if we have a look at the spatial distribution, that means division, which division, you know that, for example, Nilphamari, Kurigram, so Rangpur division. But if we have a look at the effects of covariates on poverty, then what we should do, we should have two things actually, east-west, that needs to be thought in the government, because serious deviations persist between the east-west in terms of the agriculture, in terms of the employment. Even if we have a look at the urban, rural, urban, so in terms of COVID-19, it creates another dimension that yes, social safety nets program should be revised, because who were severely hurt during the COVID-19, that needs to be addressed from that perspective. So in that case, urban should come first rather than rural. So thank you. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind presentation. I'd like to request Dr. Mohammad Abdul Salam, Member Director, Bangladesh Agriculture Research Council, to for his presentation. I would like to invite Dr. Abdul Salam, sir. Sir, time is too short, and our honorable chief guest will leave 11 a.m. So I would like to request you to complete your speech within 5 minutes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Honorable Chief Guest, Professor Dr. Shamsul Alam, Honorable Minister, State Minister, Minister of Planning, distinguished panel speakers, respected chairperson, and distinguished participants from print and electronic media. Assalamu alaikum, very good morning and good evening. I will talk on food production, emerging innovation for food system transformation. We know agriculture is one of the leading driving forces of Bangladesh economy. Agriculture contribute our GDP about 13.03%. Establishing hunger and poverty-free Bangladesh was the dream of father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. The present government has adopted many policies like National Agriculture Policy 2018, National Extension Policy 2020, National Farm Mechanization Policy 2020, Good Agriculture Practices Policy 2020, 8th 5-year plan, Delta Plan, and Perspective Plan 2021 to 2041, and UN Policy Sustainable Development Goal. Our today's chief guest was directly involved with 8th 5-year plan and Delta Plan and 2020 to 2041 Perspective Plan. Subsistence agriculture has been transformed to commercial agriculture due to different time-worthy and practical initiatives taken by the government for the last couple of years. As a result, employment opportunity has been expanded. At present, Bangladesh has secured 10th position in food production across the globe. Sustainable, safe, and commercial profitable agriculture is the vision of the sector. It is noteworthy that transformation in our country has started with introduction of high-yielding variety, chemical fertilizer, and pesticide use, and power farm for irrigation at the beginning of green revolution. However, all this transformation have implication on resource use, food production, technology development, including consumption profiles, and ultimately changing livelihood. A long-term transformation in Bangladesh agriculture is outlined as single and double crop area transforming to full crop area, which enhanced present cropping intensity 197% compared to 180 in 2006. In global ranking of food production, Bangladesh is third in rice production, second in jute production, and third in growth of vegetable production, and seventh in potato and mango production, and eighth in guava, and second in fish production. With the incremental increase of crop productivity, 45.34 million metric ton cereal were produced in the fiscal year 2019 to 2020, with the target of 45.17 million metric ton. Actually, our crop diversification has been low, but it is gradually increasing. Non-rice crop share has increased. If we compare the production scenario 2009 and 2020, the production of rice has been increased 23%, with 21%, maize 640%, potato 98%, and pulses 443%, oilseed 75%, vegetable 435%, onion 248%, which is unimaginable. During 2009 to 2020, about 555 high-yielding stress-tolerant varieties and 591 technologies have been developed by the National Agriculture Research System Institute as to the climate and soil suitability. Considering food and nutrition security, different research institutes have developed biofortified varieties, gene-increased variety like Biridan 62, 64, 72, 74, 84, and Bangabandhu Dhan 100, Binadan 22, Barigam 33.
Sorry for interrupting, honorable panelist. Your time is up. Please, I'd like to request.
Okay. Targeting heat and hunger reduce. Our National Agriculture Research System have developed many bio-rational pest management practices being used by the farmers. Bangladesh used as much as 44,000 metric ton pesticide in 2011, but in 2020 it came down 37,000 metric ton, which indicate the attempt taken towards environmental protection as well as safe food production. Actually, due to time constraint, I would like to shorten my speech. I would like to mention in 2020 to 21, Bangladesh earned $1.03 million US by exporting agricultural commodities, which major sharing from processed foods, amounting an increase of export earnings 19%. In concurrence to global fourth industrial revolution, Bangladesh has taken initiative to exploit Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and robotics to ensure smart farming on short, medium, and long-term basis. I believe that in near future, Bangladesh would be self-reliant in sustaining climate resilient agricultural production and emerge as a vibrant agricultural product exporting country with the use of science, technology, and innovation. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, honorable panelist, for concluding in too short time. You know, the Onik Matra and Economic Development Research Organization is arranging this program. Musa Mia, Deputy Managing Editor of the Bonik Batra, had worked a lot to make this program successful. I am indebted to Musa Mia Bhai, who is present here. So time is short, and our Honorable State Minister is very busy. and he will leave the meeting for his state work. I would like to invite His Excellency Honorable Minister, Professor Dr. Shamsul Alam sir, to give his speech first. The rest speaker will speak later. It is noted that our place of proud university teacher, Dr. Shamsul Alam sir, is representing in Bangladesh government. I would like to request the print and electronic media to publish his activities. He has been working since 1974 to make this country poverty, hunger, and unemployment free. He has been continuously writing in national dailies in Bangla and English. You know, sir is writing regularly in the Daily Bonik Batra, and he has got 2-term planning commission members, and he has got a number of books. He was the visiting professor of many universities. So I would like to invite Honorable Chief Guest and His Excellency Honorable State Minister of Planning to deliver his Chief Guest speech. Can you listen to me, sir?
Thank you, Md.Tanjil Hussain, for very complimentary words. And I thank all other distinguished panelist speakers, those who already spoke on this occasion. That topic is very important, particularly you see mobilizing action for food system transformation in Bangladesh is very integral to the agriculture transformation